This might be the most controversial video I have ever made, but I have to confess that I do enjoy skiing even in November. If you have done some skiing in Colorado during this time, you know how crowded and wild it can be. Some people's answer to this is to just not go, which is totally valid, but if you are like me and just couldn't wait to get on the slopes, I believe that we can all still have fun. So today I want to share some of my tips for staying safe and having fun during the early season. We cannot control what others around us do, but we can take some defensive measures to stay safe. The first thing I always like to do is to ski as predictably as possible. You don't always have eyes behind your head, and this is why the downhill skier always has the right of way. Unfortunately, we cannot control what people behind us might do or might expect us to do, so the best way to avoid someone behind you accidentally colliding into you is to give them the best idea of what you're going to do next. On a crowded slope like this, I try to make smaller turns and just try to stay in a tight lane. And when I do deviate from this pattern, such as if I need to cut over to another run like here, I like to look behind me and try to time my turn accordingly. Another thing I do all the time, but especially in the early season, is to wait at the start of a run until I see a good opening. This allows me to have more space and, as a result, have more fun.
So I am going to look for a little bit of an opening before I go ahead. Okay, sometimes you have to wait a little while, but it's okay. All right.
Speaking of stopping and waiting, I would avoid stopping or sitting down in the middle of a run. Head to the side if you need a break.
See, it paid off.
This look people below sign is pretty self-explanatory. I always slow down here, but this also tells me that right below here is not a great place to stop. You can see how the guy standing there was not really visible when you're at the top of this roller. Keep in mind that people are often skiing over 40 miles per hour on these blue runs. See the slow sign coming up? I actually like to stop behind the slow sign when I need to. You are not adding any additional obstruction here, and it's very unlikely that someone will slam into you. I do like to slow down when I feel like I can't give a slower skier enough room for me to pass, and when I see a child, I try to give them even more space. When the slope gets too crazy, I sometimes just stick to the side of the run and practice my short turns. All this said, for me, what makes the most difference in feeling safe and having fun is to pick the time I go ski. The first two runs I did today were absolutely incredible. Having Durkham Stash fresh and pretty much all to yourself is really something else. Sometimes the crowd thins a bit around lunchtime, but the last 1 to 2 hours of the day can also be great times to avoid crowds. A lot of what I said today is what I do during the normal season as well, but I find that these things are especially important in the early season when there are often just a run or two and everyone wants to come out to ski after a long summer. I am a big believer in our responsibility to keep ourselves and each other safe and share the limited snow surface. Before I go, I will leave you with the skier's responsibility code. I think I touch on some topics here, and it's worth a read if you haven't yet. I hope you're all enjoying your turns out there or getting excited to start your season. I know I am. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you soon on the slopes.